The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It's Monday, October 31st, 2022, season 18, episode number 62. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break, live from SWBC Morgan Studios at the Star. We're presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. It is Halloween, and we get to talk about something not so scary. Cowboys get a win yesterday. They win 49-29 in a game that, well, we'll just let these guys tell you what they think of this game. Amber, let's start with you. What is the story of this game?
Oh, God, I'm unprepared.
You knew it was coming.
Shoot. It was, yeah, no. Storyline. I don't know what the exact storyline is, but I'm pretty damn excited about what this offense is looking like. Dak Prescott, I thought he had, how Americans say it, a hell of a game. How about that one, Brian?
Pretty good.
Like that.
Yeah, Dak had a hell of a game. No, loved seeing him run. Loved seeing him just be him. He was just him. Obviously, they ran the ball very, very well. I think that we'll probably be talking about this in the next weeks to come. The whole debate, once again, about Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard doesn't help that Tony ran so well yesterday. But it's a great problem to have. So, long story short, I'm just very, very happy about everything that I saw offensively and what the Cowboys were able to do, and even the receivers. We saw a lot more of Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, which is kind of what we were talking about during the week, just how Kellen gets them involved and open in situations where they can be open more, and I think we saw some improvement in that aspect.
Nick?
I thought they were able to show that they could win with offense, and that's something that at some point they're going to have to win different ways. This defense still carries this team, but they're going to have to win with offense. They showed that they can do it. Kellen Moore, I thought, had a great game that he called. So you're going to have to win, then the playoffs. There's going to be games that are, grinded out games. There's going to be some high-scoring games. Every game takes a life of its own, and this one did. And the Cowboys showed that for this game they could do it.
Brian?
Muy bueno. With your defensive depth. And I say this in a way of that there was one time where I looked on the field, there was Mukwamu, there was Clark, there was Marquise Bell. Mm-hmm. They were out there fighting against a team that if you don't get practice reps against during the week with the way that they scheme, these guys don't. They don't. They're scout team guys out there playing right now and having to defend an offense that stresses you out. They stress you out with the running game. We talked about it here just a little bit pre-show. They're down 20-something points. They're still running the ball. And now they test your physicality. Are you able to get off blocks? Are you able to do the things necessary to stop them? And a lot of guys on that defense yesterday got to play that don't normally get reps. And, it's not an excuse. I mean, the Bears got yards, but they didn't get points. They didn't really get points. That's what running the ball will do for you. You can grind people down, but how many points are you going to get? Kellen Moore was outstanding calling a game yesterday, but I'm going to give this defensive depth and give the front office some credit for getting these guys involved and get these defensive coaches some credit for getting them ready enough to play and to finish that football game, because at the bitter end, it was not the team that you started with on defense at all.
Let's talk about this offense. Yesterday, they had 6 touchdowns in 9 possessions. I'm not including the final possession where they just knelled on the ball. And then they had a TD in their first 4 possessions. They got off to a fast start, which again goes to the point that you guys are making. And I think everyone thought, hey, you get out to a fast lead on these guys, you make them one-dimensional and make them have to throw the ball.
They don't.
They did not. They kept running the ball, and they were doing it effectively. They just couldn't catch up with that formula. But Cowboys offense put up 442 yards. Dak was, I think, outstanding, 21 of 27, 77.7 67% completion rate. That's 2 weeks in a row that he's been around that 75, 77 range in completions, which is a really great number. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 114.5 rating. He also had the 5 rushes for 34 yards. Nick, I was thinking about you in the press box. There was a play just before the one of the nice runs that he had. I think it might have been a touchdown run. But right before that play, you saw it and you were like, man, he's got all this room out there, and he didn't run it. And you were like, man, this is not the Dak. Come on, you got to be the Dak I need you. And next play, here we go, touchdown. But let's talk about that. What part of Dak's game stood out to you the most yesterday? Nick, we'll start with you.
I thought he took what the defense was given, which was a lot of slants. You know how I feel about that. I think that's one thing that Dak isn't great at throwing is the slant, shockingly. But I'll say this. Other than Aikman, we haven't seen, like, Romo wasn't good at the slant. It just wasn't his best throw, you know. But Gallup helped him out yesterday that he didn't as much before. But I thought just a little bit of movement. There's one play. Remember, I think I don't remember exactly what happened. It was a very subtle step up and roll to the right, step, kind of reset his feet and throw it. And that's something that Cooper Rush, we didn't see from him. He likes it, a clean pocket, stand there and throw. He can make the throw. But this was just like, you had to just off your spot just a little bit. And Dak, you know, he makes good throws on the run. That one wasn't on the run. It was just kind of resetting his feet. But he moves in the pocket pretty well. And that's going to get better and better. I just thought, third down, he rolled out. He had it. He could have got the first down, and he didn't take it. He threw it to Rowdy back there in the end zone. And then the next play, I was like, well, I mean, that's the kind of Dak that in the next play he runs in for a touchdown before I can even finish my sentence.
Brian.
Yeah, I think the thing with Dak was we're going to learn today the interception wasn't his fault. When you sit down, and I think we have coordinators today, right? Do they answer those questions for you and stuff? I think that somebody off the, somebody's going to be able to find out. I was talking with Isaiah Stanback about it. We were both watching the play, and the description of how the play was run with the tight ends holding the linebackers in place, and then you run the route in between the safety and the linebackers. I think you're going to learn there, maybe off the record or something, that that route needs to be further inside. He went too far up the field. Dak was throwing that ball in a way that it was for that, he was going to try and fit it between the linebackers who were held by the tight end and then also the safety who was playing deep in the middle of the field. If that route gets thrown, if he runs that route a little bit flatter inside, that's a big play. And I think that's what Dak saw. Last night when I saw this thing, damn, he didn't see the safety again. Mm-hmm. And when you watch the way the route combination is with the linebackers, the tight ends, and then where it needs to be and how deep that guy was playing, Dak made the right read. He just needs a little help from his guy getting inside, and I think Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy will admit that today.
Real quick, Ann, before you jump in on that, I wanted to say about that, when you talk about those kinds of routes, and even going back to the slant route, I agree with you, Nick, that I don't know that it necessarily matches up all the time. It's a route that seems to be a bit of a problem for them, but I don't know that it's all Dak. I do wonder in some instances, are your receivers taking the right angles? Are they making their breaks at the right? Because that is a very precise route. It is literally just like it's a precise situation for the quarterback. He's got a 3-step drop, get the ball out. And so everything has to match up. The receivers have to be in the right depth. They have to be at the right angle. There's a lot of stuff that's involved in that. So I'm not sure it's always just the quarterback as much as it could be receivers and quarterback just aren't on the same page, it seems like, with these slants.
To your point, they run a route later in the game. They run a route with Gallup, and he's going against Jalen Johnson, 33, and Jalen Johnson knocks the ball down, and he tries to outside set him, and Johnson jams him. And then he's trying to get back inside, and now the ball, you're right. It's the timing, it's the depth, it's all that involved. So, yeah, if you don't have that synced up, you're going to have some plays that are going to look bad. Either, the ball's not going to be where it needs to be, or the receiver's not where he needs to be on the route.
And to me, a lot of that is about time together. I don't know if with Dak missing last year as much time that he missed, like when you start thinking about how much practice time he may have missed, it becomes a situation.
Well, he got to practice this week, and I think it showed up.
Yeah.
I think the way the offense was running, I think going back with Dak, I think Kellen Moore called a hell of a game. I mentioned that. I think that Dak ran the game plan perfectly for how they needed to play yesterday.
Yep.
I really do. I think with all the movement and the throwing and putting CeeDee Lamb in the backfield and 3-bunch tight end over here and keep hitting the spot here, and then, we're going to throw a screen over here to these tight ends and let them run. I mean, Kellen Moore, I tweeted this out. I thought his first 15 were excellent. I'm like, okay, let me see the next 15. And the next 15 were just as good. And I thought they had really good balance when it came to run-pass ratio. But the way that they made the Bears defend the whole field, I think that's something that was super impressive yesterday.
Yeah, I think the O-line allowed Dak to be very, very comfortable. Like, he just felt comfortable. He trusted what he got. He trusted the receivers, the tight ends. The running game was working. You talk about balance. Talk about all the balance between the running game, Dak running himself the ball, then the receivers, the tight ends. So every single component was working. It wasn't clean all the way because there was that interception. Also, talk about Turpin.
Turpin, yeah.
Look, I saw someone running. I'm like, who? I didn't see the number just yet. I look up. I'm like, what the heck? Who's that fast? There's only one guy that's that fast. And, of course, it was Turpin. So that's another thing that, we've been talking about it on here as well. And it was really, really good to see them incorporate that into the game. Hopefully we get to see it a lot more because, man, he can freaking run. That guy is fast.
Yeah, and when I went back and watched remember because I said to you in the press box, it 11-yard run on first down, they pitched it to him. The next play, faked it to him, and it had CD dragging across. And I watched 53, the linebacker for the Bears, was cheating way over. We're seeing Turpin, and it got out of the spot, and CD filled right there. That's exactly what we're talking about what Turpin can do. There's another play that I thought of Brian when I watched it again. I was like, this is exactly what you've been asking Kellen Moore to do, is scheme the receivers open.
Yeah.
The touchdown to CD, he gets him in motion, and he puts him in motion from the right to the left. Behind Gallup. Gallup fights through the corner, and so the safeties don't know exactly what's on because he's over here fighting with the corner and just pops CD wide open in between. Great throw by Dak, too.
No, it was, and I'm glad you mentioned that. It's well designed. Mm-hmm. You're talking about bringing him in motion, getting him on the move, and then it's almost like they're running a wheel route with the running back out of the backfield where we see so many times they're open, but he wheels it between, and now you put the corner and the safety in a bind, and he's just able, and Dak reads it the whole way. It was a great design, and that's we're all getting some things that we asked for, whether it's the Turpin plays, whether it's the scheme guys open, just a lot more creativity of trying to help your players.
There's no way that any team, yes, Kansas City has Kelsey and there's Kittle and all that. No, I don't think any team has 3 tight ends. Really 4, because McEwen, I thought, did a nice job on some
your play to Turpin. He was in the game. Yeah, he was in the game on the line, and they had a fullback. They had Hendershot as the fullback, and that's how they kind of ran the play.
These 4 tight ends, really 3, but McEwen plays some as well. I thought Schultz did a nice job, but Hendershot and Ferguson. They've got something with these tight ends. They're only going to get better when they get stronger and even more in sync with Dak.
Yeah, to your point though, exactly what you're talking. There was a sequence where they kept putting CD in the backfield and they kept running the RPO going to the right. They finally handed him the ball. It wasn't blocked well the one time he tried to run. He got a little bit, but they kept running it. But what they were doing was they were taking the tight ends, all 3 of them, and they were bunching them together. Out wide. And then they put him right, and then they put him left, and then they put him out. And they kept doing it.
They basically flipped 4 different times. They flipped them back and forth.
Exactly.
And they were throwing those. They threw a screen out there.
Twice.
They threw screens out there twice. They had the one downfield, not really downfield, but it was like a comeback to Schultz. Like they were playing off of this whole idea that, and this is what I love about how Kellen did it. You send out 3 tight ends, the defense immediately thinks they're in big.
Right.
So we need to match big on big.
You tweeted that. That was a good tweet.
And then what happens is now they go up tempo. They didn't allow them to then get out of it. Once they saw they got these tight ends out wide, now the defense is stuck with their big package out there. And they got linebackers out having to try to cover these guys in space, that's a favor for the Cowboys. So that's the kind of stuff that when we talk about be creative, Kellen Moore, That's creative. I love to see
and
it.
two, to your point, though, you take the running backs out and you put a wide receiver at running back.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, wait a minute, they're playing with a running back as the halfback, three tight ends playing as like trips wide receivers.
Right.
So now you're just totally messing with how they're going to line up.
Yeah.
And again, to your point, up tempo, don't let them sub back into their personnel.
And those are things also that what you don't think about all the time is that's just one more package that now opponents coming up have to spend time working on. Right. If they come out in this, here's how we're going to handle it. And you can play off of that. You can do some other things with that package. You can really go big and force them now. If they decide they're going to run out there with a smaller package because they think you're going to put them out wide, now actually run some plays where you put them all in and you have them tight. And then run from there. There's a lot of things you can do off that. I love that he did that in that sequence. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, one of the questions I have for you guys is, what do you think was the most interesting thing that Kellen Moore did yesterday? Because we talked about someone, we talked about the tight ends, we talked about Turpin, we talked about Dak as a runner. I want to know what you guys think is the most interesting thing, and then, of course, we're going to get to Tony Pollard in his day. We'll do that when we come back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Back to the break.
Miller Lite is proud to bring you Q Barbecue Fest Dallas. It's at the Miller Lite House, AT&T Stadium this weekend, November 4th through 6th. Some of the best barbecue in the country. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
Welcome back. Second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. This segment brought to you by Blockchain.com. And here's my question for you guys. We talked about it a little bit before the break. What stood out to you most about how Kellen called the offense? And I talked about the tight ends. We talked about his use of Turpin. We talked about how Dak was in the running game a little bit more yesterday. It could be other things. But what stood out to you most?
Well, for me, I mean, we did talk about a lot of it. I mean, what stood out the most is that, you know, you have a guy that just scored a touchdown and everybody got his first career touchdown. Everyone's high-fiving him, and then they show that he was 1 inch away from scoring. So it's 1st and goal on the 1, and then they don't give him the ball.
I think you said 100% you should give it to him, right?
That make you mad?
Yeah, it did. I said it's a 100% chance that the ball's going to him. Was I wrong? I mean, it was fake. So it went to him, but then he pulled it away. I can't believe he did that, honestly. But I think going back and looking at it, I think he would have been stuffed for a 1-yard loss.
I think so too.
So, but anyways, that would have been interesting. I mean, but you know, then we wouldn't have had one of the coolest celebrations of all time. So.
The rodeo move.
Rodeo.
Oh.
You didn't see it?
Yeah, I didn't see it. I was too busy to make my notes.
Yeah. So, you don't care about the rodeo.
You know, it's funny because usually, I mean, this is just me in my head. I'm thinking like maybe there's some kind of, not that I've seen anything to give me this impression, but when you see younger tight ends playing well and then you got a guy that's on a franchise tag and all that, you think, and this is me speaking, you think maybe there's some kind of animosity or of some sort there. And then to see that kind of celebration, Dalton Schultz partake in it and be so, like, a teammate, being part of the fun and just having fun out there and doing that kind of celebration. It was just very refreshing and pretty cool to see. So I definitely enjoy that celebration. I'm like, man, that's cool.
I was shocked that it was Schultz down there. I thought I didn't think Schultz was the one, like, that's the cattle.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Hendershot and,
I thought that
Ferguson.
was Hendershot. Yeah.
No, it was
Ferguson tying him
I knew
up.
that, but I thought it was Hendershot down there.
No, Schultz
that's what
was
I'm
down
saying.
there.
It was Schultz.
I was surprised too.
All right. Yeah,
so it was just
surprising.
it was kind of refreshing to see that.
Yeah, not every lead tight end just kind of leaves the other two to the side. You know what I mean? And says, "No, I'm not going to help you out." No, that doesn't happen all the time.
Not very often.
I mean, sometimes they all work together in one big room.
The implier, you want to tell us what you're telling them? Go ahead.
Hey, Jason Witten, and he'll tell you. He goes, "I'm not helping these young bucks to get up there and try to take my job. I'm not doing it."
These young what?
Bucks.
Oh, I heard something else.
No, you didn't.
Wow. All right, Brian.
How do you follow that? I think the thing, to me, you did see the creativity with the offense. You did see the no huddle. You did see the aggressiveness. You did see them make them. I think Kellen Moore was comfortable running the football the way they've been running the football, whether it's up inside. I think they did a great job of getting the backup running back ready to roll. I think the offense, they said, no, this is how we run the football. This is how we're going to do. We're going to run it inside when we have to. The quarterback sneak was a great example of how the things have been kind of going for them in the running game a little bit.
Yeah, no
when
doubt.
you get Biotish and Martin, and you get the whole side of the Bears defense to cave in, and they don't even think it. They think it's going to be a run. They don't think it's going to be quarterback sneak. They're playing run, and now Dak is just balance out the gate. Here you go. But I think Kellen Moore, he could have got like last week on those third down runs, the ball was going to the outside. No, he said, the heck with this. We're going to attack this. We're going to attack the Bears. And so I think that last week was trying to kind of maybe see something different, but he realized, we need to go at these guys running the football. And Malik did a great job. I mean, there was some times in the pass protection where Malik, they got him ready to play. They got this kid ready to play to where blitz pick up. They run a twist stunt. Him and Martin have to sort things out. That's coaching. That's hey, this is a young kid that runs scout team all week, and now he's thrown into a game to have to make a key block so the ball can get out. So, I mean, Kellen, the things that they were able to do, not be afraid or cautious because they had certain pieces out, and to get Gallup going early in that game, I think was a good thing on his part as well.
Let's talk about Tony Pollard in this run game. Tony Pollard yesterday was 14 carries for 131 yards, a 9.4 yard average. Amazing. 3 touchdowns. And I'm going to ask this question, and I know it might get some weird rolled eyes, but it's something that fans are talking about, and I do think it's something that's worth a discussion, is do you think that the Cowboys need to reconsider how they're deploying their 2 running backs after seeing what Tony Pollard could do yesterday?
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, get your more explosive guy in opportunities to be explosive. I mean, at some point, like we saw it, I'll take you back to 2009. I mean, Miles Austin starts a game, starts because of an injury, has 250 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. Okay, well, maybe he wasn't going to start if he goes and doesn't do that. And now you're like, okay, if you've got that potential from start to finish of a game, maybe so. I got a stat for you.
Okay.
Tony Pollard started 3 games at running back.
Yeah.
They scored 40 points in all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
And now, one of them, he was not really the starter against the Falcons 2020. But these 2 games that he started, and he scored 5 touchdowns in these last 2 starts at running back. So I just think 2 weeks ago it was 15-12, and Zeke. So it's 15-12. I said this on the air this morning, radio on 105.3. 60-40 for Zeke. If it's 60-40 for Pollard, I think that's fine, and it helps Zeke's knee.
And that's kind of what they're doing right now. They kind of ride the hot hand in certain situations. Some games it's a little more Pollard, some games it's a little more Zeke. So really that wouldn't be a departure from what they've been doing, right?
No. I mean, I'll let y'all chime in, but but you can say this, though. that game against Detroit. Maybe if Pollard gets a few more carries early in the game, it's not 10-6 in the fourth quarter. You know, he's got that home run ability, and so I've been like fighting it. I've been in there on the Zeke corner and does all this stuff. When you got a guy the fourth quarter breaking 55-yard runs like that after he's had a bunch of carries, I think he brings an element that Zeke doesn't have, and I just think that they need to work, maybe just massage it a little bit. Nothing crazy. They're both going to play a lot.
Yeah, that to me was the most impressive part. You look at the fourth quarter and the way he was running the ball in the fourth quarter, and these were long. You know, he was explosive throughout the whole game, but that's the wonder. It's like, okay, can he hold up, running constantly throughout the game and make it to the fourth quarter? And he showed that. So I think I hate to say this, you know, I've been Team Zeke for the longest time, and I love Zeke. But maybe this is a time where maybe we do need to see a little bit of that transition just to see how it actually looks like and how the running game how it changes when you just put Pollard as the lead. Because, I mean, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue what he can do after seeing a game like the one we saw yesterday.
The only thing you would worry about Pollard is when you played the Commanders, you didn't run for anything. Mm-hmm. That was Zeke and Pollard.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing. The eye test will tell you right now that you should play Pollard more. But, you know, I think this running game is evolving. The thing I really appreciate, remember how many times we'd watch games and then Pollard would come in the third series and he'd get the one series. And if it was good, he kept going. If it was bad, he was sitting on the sidelines. And then in the second half, he'd get another one. I think they're doing a really good job of giving both of these guys opportunities. I think as you get to the second half, you're going to need both of these guys. And I mean both of them in a way of, hey, if Pollard's getting 15 and Zeke's getting 15, fine. Whatever ratio it is, however you're winning the game or however you're having success, go with that. The eye test will tell you. Hey, this guy is explosive. The eye test will tell you the other guy runs with a lot of toughness. The other guy gets carries that are third down converters, and gets 3 or 4 yards when it's really, really tough, But there's also that time when I remember the Commanders game where they don't run for anything, both of them. And that's Pollard included. There was a couple of them where it was some minus runs as well. So that's the thing that, I'm kind of like, I'm looking at that. I think they need to play both guys. I do. I think 27 carries, say, on one guy is a detriment for the next week and maybe for the next week after that. 14 and 16 or 14 and 13, whatever that is for two guys, I think that's manageable. I think that's manageable for the season and how you want to run the football. I think it's encouraging that there's been games where Pollard has been the back when it's the 4-minute offense and they're trying to kill a game. I think that tells you that he can do it. But I think you're going to need both these guys.
I agree. I think one of the tricky parts of this is the passing game, because if the running back's going to stay in there and block, you want Zeke, and then that's nothing really against Pollard. He's not Zeke. Zeke is tougher, bigger, stronger, and he has a nose for it. He's been doing it longer. Hey, he's better there. If that running back slips out of the backfield and you dump it off to him like that happened in the game yesterday, you want that guy to be Pollard out there in the open. So that's where I think the tricky part comes in.
Yeah, Pollard had a blitz pickup where, well, it's actually they missed a block on 93 for it was Justin Jones, the defensive lineman, got free, and Pollard was looking outside, and all of a sudden he just launches his body just to sacrifice himself. He knew, it's like, listen, I got to help, and Dak gets the ball down the field to Schultz for a first down. But it was one of those times where you're like, we're super mindful of Pollard, and then you say, oh, wait, look, he did it. He showed awareness, and he saved a play there.
Was that the free play?
Yeah, well, it was not the free. It was
not the free play. That the 30-yarder to Schultz.
No. It was a different throw. I think it was a different throw, Nick. I got to go back to my notes, but I remember just him lunging back inside to help Dak throw the ball.
What was his call that he said, the line that they said in the meeting that they were talking about yesterday, that he said is, if they make the call,
he
said, if you call it, I'm gonna haul it.
Yeah. If you call it, I'm gonna haul it. Yeah.
He did.
But see, that's the thing about it is there's that question about is he physical enough to pick up? But there, he didn't have to be physical enough. He just had to be aware. Aware. And sometimes being aware and let them run over you to get to the quarterback, that'll slow them down just enough. If you just let them run over you, you're actually blocking.
Yeah.
So
I think you just got to look at what it changes week by week depending on the opponent. You got to look at what the defense are doing to you, because I do think there are times that Zeke is better going at it because of his body build, his strength, as opposed to Pollard, that at other occasions he's more the explosive one. So you found it?
Nick's right. It was a 30-yard play. Yeah, because
which was offside.
They get offsides to get 3 vertical up top, and then also 20. Yeah, he gets just enough of that defender, so it's the ball gets out. And you're right, Nick. It was the 30-yard pass play, and that was the setup.
And that was a huge play in the game. It's 28-23.
It's 3rd and 9.
3rd and 9. Now they got an offside, so it was probably going to be 3rd and 4. I didn't think, from our viewpoint, Schultz had a prayer of catching that pass. And then just the way it looked, it was like, I thought he sailed it over it, but he made a nice catch. It kind of was Witten-like, down the seam in the middle of the field. But to answer right there, and I think that goes back to what this offense, and that's why I'm excited about what the offense did, was that they needed a couple of answers. They needed to come out and hit them in the mouth, which they did. Then a couple of times they had to answer. They showed if you get in one of these type of games, they can do that. And that 28-23 to come back and score like that and then get the fumble.
Then the way they played the 2-point plays too. Right, I mean, because Tank's sack, he was unblocked. Yeah, I mean, you can't give up points there. It's a 3-point game right there. You keep it a touchdown game by Tank, destroying the play.
Yeah, destroying the play and the quarterback.
I said that. I said the Fields had a lot of interesting plays in the game, and he's going to be a really good quarterback. But his best play was getting up from that hit. Wow,
he took one.
Yeah, and sometimes an athletic quarterback can hurt you, because sometimes there's a lot of quarterbacks that can't jump over Micah Parsons. So some would just say, I'm just going to touch him. I can't do that. But he decided to hurdle him.
One of the things you always talk about is a quarterback, is he football intelligent?
Is he aware?
Is he aware, football intelligent? Sometimes, yeah.
Weird.
All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. There was some interesting things worth noting from that game. We'll do that when we come right back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field. United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
This week! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is.
It's a non-fungible token. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Homeownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Back to the break.
Get the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan.
Wake
Join
up,
Dallas
Nick.
Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, starting at just $20. Join now and get your fan pack, exclusive benefits, and more. Visit DallasCowboys.com/United for details and join today.
Final segment of the break live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios.
You guys need a
at
break.
The Star. We do need a break. I'm so happy it's the bye week. We've got this is the last show I'm going to get to do with you guys this week. Starting tomorrow, we will mix everything up. When you guys come and tune in to the break and pretty much every other podcast we do, you will have a whole different set of people on air. The host will say the same. Nothing else will. So make sure you tune in tomorrow and see how we mix this
Who's coming
thing
in
up.
for the break?
We've got Aisha Morrison. We've got
She was
Barry
good on
Church.
105.3 last night.
She is really good.
She did a good job.
Really good.
She did a good job.
You are good. We got Aisha on the break. We got Barry Church on the break.
Well, that'd be good.
Brian, you're going to Talkin'.
Me, Nate, and yes, Kyle Yeomans.
Yeah,
early in the morning.
Going, Nick?
I'm going to hang in with the boys for one day, and then I'm also going to Girls Talk, Boys Talk.
That fits so well. That's awesome.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Good. Amber, where are you going?
Dominican Republic. I'll be out. I said I'm out.
I knew exactly where that was going.
Passport land.
Yeah, I'm out.
Look, Amber's getting a tropical vacation out of this. So, yeah, good bye week. All right, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. They allowed 240 yards rushing yesterday.
Yeah.
My question for you, how concerned are you with this rushing defense? They've had some issues earlier in the season, but you could also justify it yesterday that they were just playing a team that was dedicated to running the ball. That's what happens when you do that. How concerned are you today?
I'm not that concerned. I mean, I think this team, Chicago, somebody has going to get a bonus if they lead the league in rushing. Over there's some coach or whatever, and they're doing it, and they're like, oh, down 20.
They're going for the bonus.
We're going to run this ball. Like they're not going to get out of the running game. That's fine. That's why they lead the league in rushing. I mean, were they 3-6 now? 3-5?
3-5.
3-5. I mean, what 3-5 team leads the league in rushing? I mean, that's
one that doesn't trust their quarterback much.
Well, true, and one that
they should trust that guy. I think a little bit more than they do. He proved that.
He played pretty good.
I don't know when we're going to see them again. Who knows? You never know. I mean, it won't be next year. It'll be a couple years or whatever. He's going to be way better.
Yeah,
he's good. He is going to be good once he gets a little awareness, stops jumping people, and But he also needs some help too. Those receivers. I mean,
Mooney's good. Mooney could help them though. I mean, I'll say this about their running game. This is what makes it difficult because of, like we talk about, the stress with the running quarterback, which it means scrambles and things like that. I mean, Tank had him 3 or 4 times. I felt like that. I mean, I know I exaggerate, probably 2 times where he had him and others had him and he's scrambling and he's gaining yards. That's a problem. They're dropping back with the intent to pass and then he takes off running and now it's basically a running play is what it is. So the thing that teams are doing to the Cowboys in the running game, and especially in the perimeter stuff, they've tried to shore up the middle with the linebackers and the defensive line. And by the way, your new defensive tackle didn't play bad. He did exactly what you needed him to do. Now, it doesn't show when it happens on the outside. Teams have figured out they don't block you one-on-one. They know they can't block Micah Parsons one-on-one. What they do is they shield him. They shield him or they'll chop him or they'll do stuff to where they affect how he plays. And it's much easier in a running game to down block, and then pull guys out. And they were able to do that several times. Some of the really good runs that they had were the crack toss. I mean, the quarterback power that they scored on. No crack there or no toss. Crack, get linemen out. The fourth and one play, Derek, I mentioned it that. They had a chance. Dallas had a chance to get off the field. They slant the front to the side of the run, of the toss. They're in great shape. Diggs is unblocked on the edge. Diggs all of a sudden kind of goes, one of those, yeah, kind of, that's what he did. And all of a sudden, literally, if you have somebody screaming off that corner, at least cutting him down, it's Dallas's ball on a 4th down, and now the drive's not going. Yeah. They slant their front and then throws them off, or they get crack, and then pulls. It gets the corner. I've said it before. When you watch Dallas, when they struggle, it's the edges get cracked or sealed. The next guy, linebacker, gets sealed, and that linebacker could be Curse, who's down there playing low. And so he's kind of having to fight it. and you got an edge that's again, so that's the issues.
And just to make sure that people understand what you're saying by down block, and then pull. What happens basically, you got the two outside
angle.
You got a tight end and you got a wide receiver. They're both blocking down, so they'll hit the defensive end, they'll hit the safety, and then they'll pull the two offensive linemen behind toward the outside.
Right.
And now you've got this situation where now those defensive players have to fight through all this trash to get out to the running back. It's hard.
They ran a toss early in the game that Brown played exactly how you're supposed to play it, because Riley Reif, the big number 71, gets out, and what does Brown do? He dives underneath, and now Riley Reif can't block him. And now everybody's there to make the tackle because they had
muddy it up too.
You muddied it up. Yeah. Instead, they're like, it's so easy to down block. That's what happens. They don't take Micah Parsons on head on and try and hook him. They just down block him. And what happened? Parsons started saying, no more. Jump. He started just jumping around. He started just jumping, and they were missing him, but and they were getting guys up. But that's what people are doing to you. They're forcing your edge to have to play, their corner to have to play. And there's some inside runs and stuff like that where it happens. But where you give up your big plays are when down block, around, and then a soft corner right there.
Yep. And Hankins ain't going to help you with that.
No, he can't get past the D. Yeah. But the inside runs and stuff, he took on double teams. Now, I'll say this about Clark. I thought it was a little rough for him in this first game. But hell, he played a ton. He was kind of like, okay, I'm supposed to be here, I guess. I'm supposed to be.
What do you have, like 40, 30-something, 40-some snaps?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, he had a couple of plays, couple of tackles and stuff like that. But, he's going to have to get the feel for that stuff. He really is. But, man, these teams have figured out if you're going to play soft corner, soft edge, and they can down block you and take you out of that, boom, they can run the football over there.
I think that this is something we need to be talking about at some point. Is there more to this game that you want to get to?
No.
I mean, I just think, last year Micah Parsons was going to win Rookie of the Year, but we're like, what about Defensive Player of the Year? Now I think he has a really good chance to win Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe you should go higher than that. Seriously. Because he is the most valuable player on this football team. When he's off for 4 or 5 snaps, the Bears go right down the field.
Yeah.
They're having to do everything to scheme against him, and we can't block like this. We got to do this and this and this. He affects this team, which affects the defense, which affects the offense. And this is a good football team. You have to be a good football team. So if they can get up in the mix and they keep playing like this, I think that it's time to start looking at maybe a defensive player being in the conversation for MVP. I really think that's how good he is.
I was trying to think of the last one.
I mean, I know Lawrence Taylor won it.
Was Woodson Defensive Player of the Year at defensive back?
Oh, for the Packers?
That 1 year. I don't know. I mean, I just throwing that out there. But I mean, the thing about you're right about Micah, but man, it's like they're going after his knees, guys. Mm-hmm. They're like bringing guys, Komet, and those guys are coming across the formation, and they're cutting him, and they're cutting his left leg, and he's spinning out of that and stuff like that.
Which I think is so crazy because defensive guys can't do that to offensive
guys.
No. You talked about Brown, how these.
Yeah.
If he would have just attacked his legs,
yeah,
they would call a penalty on that.
Yeah.
I know they do in college. I think they do in the pro. I don't think you can just cut a guy in the move like that. But on offense, they can do it to the defense.
Inside the tackle box.
One of those weird rules where the offense can do it, but defense
you can't hit the quarterback in the face, but you can cut the guys.
You can't grab a face mask, but if you're happening to be hitting a guy with a straight arm and you're hitting his face mask,
31-7 Cowboys at the half. Yeah. If Golston doesn't hit him up there like that, they're going to get a field goal off that pick by Diggs, 31-7, and then instead it's 28-17.
I couldn't tell from the end zone copy. They went away from it quick. I mean, I was hoping it, but it looked like from the sidelines, it looked like he hit him in the head.
Yeah.
He hit him in the head.
Shorter quarterback, bigger defensive. I mean, there's no.
You just got to be.
By the way, it's unfair. We all know it's unfair, but it's the plight of it. And I just think when it comes to defensive players, they got to move the target lower. You
Yeah.
got to go for the midsection
Yeah.
and target the midsection because that's not going to move
But
down
then you get
as much,
then
right?
you hit low, though. You get these officials that think you're hitting midsection and you're going low on a guy. And they'll call that too.
In the midsection? I mean, like,
well, I know, but
your target is like
I
the
understand.
sternum,
No,
right?
but I understand. But some of these officials think if a quarterback kind of goes down and you hit him in the midsection, well, they're thinking they're going low on a guy. Yeah. And I don't know.
I mean, it's a no-win situation.
There's holding on both teams, by the way, in this game, by the way,
flags.
too. Yeah.
Just have the quarterback wear the stupid belt and the flag
And
around
you gotta
him,
grab
and
their-
let's just play
grab their
football.
flag?
Yeah. God.
And by the way,
no,
Lawrence
some-
Taylor was the last defensive player.
Okay,
in
so that was
1986.
86. Okay, so
And
that was that
then
long ago.
The one before that was Alan Page in 1971.
Oh.
Purple people
So
eaters.
only two defensive players ever
like-
won MVP.
It's
I
like
was the only one
baseball.
alive here that saw him win that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was still just a thought from my pops.
It's like baseball. You know, they have a Cy Young award, so that guy doesn't usually win MVP. You know,
Yeah.
because we have a award for you. You know, defensive player of the year. Just give him that. He'll be happy. Let's give it to somebody else, and you know, maybe it'll be.
He's an incredible player.
Yeah, he's just for being this team goes off their defense, and the defense is obviously runs from everything through Micah. So I think it's something to be talking about.
All right, appreciate you guys. Jonas will be back. I will be back tomorrow. These guys will be on.
Catch
other
me bright
shows.
and early.
Make sure you check all our shows tomorrow. It'll be interesting to hear some different opinions from some different matchings and pairings. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?